Michael, welcome to Action A Go Go.
Hey, great name. Thanks for having me.
No,
How you
thank
doing?
you. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
How you doing, Derek?
I'm doing very good. I'm doing much better now. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I've been snowed in all week on the East
Oh, yeah.
Coast. So, you know,
Yeah, that tends to happen. Do
yeah,
some
yes.
introspect, stuff, play games, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit of Call of Duty here and there. And speaking of action, thank you so much for talking to us about Alarum, debuting January 17th. I did have a chance to watch the movie, and I'm pretty stoked. Pretty
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. Our job is to bring entertainment. And I think it checks the boxes. Working with Stallone and Scott's a wonderful thing, and Willa is such a pleasure.
Absolutely. So what brought you to the movie? I was looking at your filmography, and you've got an incredible independent film career, incredible mainstream career, great stuff. But what brought you to this film?
I appreciate you saying that. The idea was I wanted to work with Scott and Stallone I've known for approximately 20 years, and we've looked at projects. We were going to do a project a few years ago, or quite a few years ago, and this was an opportunity to work together. And so the combination of the spy thriller was really that's great because there's a lot of different plot twists that you can play with, and I wanted to explore that. And having Scott lead with Willa and having that relationship, that chemistry was something I really wanted to see. Always having Stallone as the anchor, he's great.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, obviously, huge action fan, huge
Yeah.
Stallone fan. So I did want to start there. What was it like? You said you've known him for 20 years. That's Wish I could say that. But what was it like actually working with him?
Probably what you imagine. He's a master. He knows exactly what to do and how to do it, but he's a great collaborator too. The idea of having somebody that with that much weight come on set, it's like parting the seas. He brings a lot of history. He understands what's going on, and he knows how to work a scene in a way that just if it's not there, we'll figure it out. And he does it quite quick.
That's excellent. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think people are appreciating him more now, but how much of an artist he is, along with the star, he wrote Rocky and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, the idea with social media and the access that people are getting, they're starting to get a whole picture of who the guy is. You know, you get to understand him, and he has that show with his beautiful daughters, which you get to see. That's just that is the Stallone. That is Sylvester Stallone.
Cool. Very cool. Now, you also knew Scott Eastwood before making this movie with him?
About a year, I didn't know him as well as I did Sly, but throughout the conversations before we started, I felt like I got to know him really great. We continue to be great friends. I'm not, it's a, we continue to talk about a lot of other projects,
Mm.
which would be fun. He works really hard.
Awesome. Awesome. Did he have any stories about, I mean, the gorilla in the room or the elephant in the room,
Oh
excuse me, like, being the son of a living legend,
Oh
thankfully.
yeah, there are times when you're looking through the camera and you're thinking you're looking at his dad, and he gets that. That's a burden. But that's probably a pretty good burden. I'm not Scott, so I would imagine that there's a lot. But what he did get from his dad was an incredible work ethic, and that I haven't seen that before. Somebody who's really barrels down on the work and wants to do a great job and explores everything in a scene to make sure that it's great. He's really quality control too.
That's awesome. That's very cool. And my takeaways from the film, just to pivot a little bit to the broader film, I found myself laughing a
Yeah.
lot in a good way, right? I was getting it. The action was really intense. It was a very fun movie to watch. And it is a spy thriller. Did you try and I don't want to, I mean, there's Bond films, and whatnot, but did you try and infuse it with a bit of comedy? Was that part of the adventure, or did it sort of naturally occur during the filming process?
It's there in the script. I think that what we focused on was chemistry because we know what's going to happen with bullets and bombs and explosions. Those are taken care of, and the audience is very sophisticated about these movies, and we know what this is sort of an 80s homage in the way that it's a spy thriller movie and it's got a few crazy things in it. You know, at the end of the day or at the end of the movie, you just want to be entertained, like you say. So the laughs are great, you know, laughs you can get, and that's where you find Scott. I mean, Stallone is just a very funny guy,
Very
you know,
cool.
so it's good to work with him. I mean, Willa is so sharp. I mean, she could just dress you down with her eyes. It's okay.
I did want to mention Willa as well because she does. I mean, everybody does a great job. It's a really fantastic cast. I'm going to repeat myself, but she does an amazing job. She gives this incredibly physical performance. She's doing all sorts of action in this. Was this a new experience for her, and did she or did she just take to it like a fish to water sort of thing?
She was attracted because of the physicality, I believe. This is something that she can really do. She can really fight, and she understood the character, and she wanted to explore it as Willa Fitzgerald too, and then get into what it was like to be that character. And to watch her, she's just laser sharp in her approach.
Absolutely. I mean, she does everything. I was very.
Yeah.
It's one of
She's
my
she,
favorite.
she's
Go
at the
ahead.
top of her game. I mean, she's just incredible to watch.
Absolutely. No, incredible physicality. And
Yeah.
then Mike Colter was in this as well. I know him from Luke Cage, Jessica Jones,
Yeah.
sort of doesn't, but just a tremendous talent. What did he bring to the table for this?
He's just a really smart guy. You know, the idea that to have a big presence like that, to have him come in and stand in front of you and sort of you know, he leads one side of this arms dealing thing, and you don't have to see him to know what's going on. You know, I mean, I mean, you know what's going on very quickly when you see him, to rephrase that. And when you see him, there's a lot of power. He brings a lot of power.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to give anything away, but he plays a bit of a heavy. I mean, they're all assassins and killers, right? So I don't think there's any spoilers there. But as soon as he gets on the screen, you feel it. You know,
Right.
I just really appreciated that in the story.
Yeah. And he's also a, a very tall guy. And that he just dwarfs everybody. But he's such a kind man. So that's a lot he's a lot of fun to work with. I mean, everybody was fun to work with. They all know what they're getting into and they want to do a great job.
It's fantastic. And then another person who really stood out for me was D.W. Moffat.
Oh
Um,
God, DW. Yeah, we've known each other for a long time.
yeah, he had some lines in it. I mean, I don't want to give anything, but I found myself laughing out loud, and I feel like it was almost against type for his type of character. I mean, again, they're all spies, but he's like this grizzled grizzled
Yeah,
guy doing his job. Was that in the script as well, or did he try and bring a different energy to it, or
that
did you
was,
ask him about
that
that?
was his part was written down. What he brings is that bravado. He looks the part. He looks the part in daily life, you know. He's just he's so well trained, you know, being on television and being in features and going back and forth and even theater. He's like an Anthony Edwards in that sense that these guys just have a wealth of knowledge of how to do stuff, you know.
That's incredible. Yeah. And also, this may be a little bit inside baseball, but I was learning about you and trying to study up about the movie, and then I'm looking at the film and I'm like, is that the director?
Oh shit, yeah. That's
Like
the that's the problem. That's just when you're a split egg, you're gonna get comped for the other guy, you know. Uh, yeah, Mark came in to fill that part up, and you know, of course, people think it's me, and that's fun for a little bit. He's wonderful to come in and do a really nice, you know, supporting role like that.
no,
It's
and
fun,
of course,
you know,
and
sort of.
people may know this about you already, but he's your twin, and
Yeah,
you
he's
guys
my yeah,
collaborated since birth.
yeah, and you know, we've done I think 10 features, and we have a feature coming out this year that sort of like a Twin Falls situation, which is we're twins in the movie again, so it's sort of a reunion. It is a reunion, and it'll be fun to see.
That's really cool. And that's it's very Hitchcock. I don't know, is it easier than what Hitchcock did, like trying to stuff himself in? Or do you get to boss your brother around in these situations and tell him what to do?
You know, what's funny is he looks like me, so I just want him to do what I would do. I know what his face does. I know how he walks. I know how he talks. So it's sort of like me there, you know? And so what would Michael do? How would I want to act? But he's so well trained. He's been doing it much longer than I have, you
Great.
know, and when we do it together, he gives me a lot of good pointers.
Excellent. And you've had this amazing journey as a filmmaker, going truly independent stuff
Yeah.
to major motion picture stuff. And you're doing, like, you also did Force of Nature with Mel
Yeah.
Gibson, and then this. And these are, so you've sort of transitioned to action later in your career, or did I miss anything in the IMDb that
Um,
mentioning?
it- I always wanted, I was, you know, I'm a director that always wanted to try different things. You know, once you do the Siamese Twin movie and the North Forks of the world, if you want to keep doing that, that's not going to be easy, and it's also going to be you're not going to grow as an artist. And let's use the word grow because I grew up watching action pictures. I grew up watching dramas and comedies, and what could I bring to those genres? So when the action pictures come up, it's very difficult to get these pictures because I don't have that in my background.
Mm.
But what I do have in my background is good character pieces and actors that I've known, and so we could explore that. And so I was bringing what was happening in the 80s where a character was primarily and the action was around him as opposed to being just an action piece.
Excellent, excellent. And I'd love to ask you more questions about your journey and
Oh
whatnot,
yeah.
but our time is limited, unfortunately. Michael, again, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I really enjoyed the film. It's coming out January 17th,
Yeah.
2025. Got to get used to saying that too. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I mean, the next picture is not action, but we can still talk about it.
Hey, I'd love to. Just put me in the Rolodex. Give me a
Okay.
call.
Thank you, man.
Take it easy. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
This is Derek Scarzella. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching or enduring. If you're feeling generous or even just mildly entertained, please like, subscribe, and comment to support the channel. I know you've got opinions. Don't even try to deny it. Drop them in the comments. Argue with me. Argue with each other. You are officially invited to engage in glorious internet combat. You can also find me on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Instagram's awkward little brother, and the granddaddy of them all, Facebook. Oh, and while I've still got your attention, my novels The Vicious Game and Knuckle Crack Bone are up on Amazon. They're unapologetically gritty, punch you in the face crime stories with rave reviews. If you give them a shot, I'd be honored. Thank you again for watching. Rest well, hero. You're home.